This episode is brought to you by Amazon Video Games. Visit bit.ly/Amazon Backlog Battle, that's all one word, when you buy anything from Amazon so we can continue offering our back catalog of shows.
This is the Backlog Battle Podcast, episode 179. You can't download a controller. Hello, everybody. This is another episode of the Backlog Battle Podcast. This is Anthony.
And this is Alex. I mean, Justin.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck happened to Alex?
I don't know. Where did he go?
I don't know. He's taking a backseat this episode. Before everyone freaks out, because, Justin, I don't know if you know this, but there have been times when Alex and I have stopped podcast and people think we have a falling out. Because, as you know, you're a listener of the show, Alex and I are pretty aggressive. So people are just waiting for the inevitable falling out that he and I will have, but it hasn't happened. He's just taking a backseat this episode, like I tend to from time to time, particularly last September. And he's not sick; he's perfectly fine. But he'll be back, I believe, next episode. So let's go ahead. And Justin is my guest host today. How are you doing, man?
I'm feeling great. I mean, I would really like to hop on sometime with you and Alex both, but I guess sometimes you guys need a little break, and that's really cool.
Yeah, well, let's be honest, too. Alex does a lot more of the work than I do. So he does the editing. He does, a lot of that stuff. So it's really important for him to step back from time to time. So
well, I guess it'll be really interesting to see how this show turns out then.
oh, God. The Anthony Rand show of Backlog Battle. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put it this way, my friend. You are doing pretty good, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as far as myself, 35, I work at a decent job, got a wife, no kids, 2 cats, and I'm a huge gamer. I live for gaming. Well, I don't live for it, I guess, but
let's not hope your wife hears that.
No, but I really like to game. I've been a gamer ever since I was the age of, 2 or 3, I don't know which age it was. One of my earliest memories I have was me playing Pac-Man on the Atari 2600.
God damn.
Yeah, and we all know how terrible that version is, but when you're 2 years old, you don't care. It's flashing lights on a TV screen. It's exciting.
That's the seizure-inducing version of Pac-Man.
Yeah, it's the one where if you watch a YouTube clip of it that's not at 60 frames a second, it makes it look like sprites disappear and stuff, but that's not the case. It just has a flickering effect. So you have to record it at 60 frames to get the full effect of the game.
I gotcha. Well, it's that fucking game, man. That game goes along with Porygon, that motherfucking seizure-inducing Pokemon. So,
oh yeah.
So you are from YouTube, and you probably know a few of the people that have been on the show. You know Darkscream, right? And you know, a.k.a. Billy. You know Xander, of course,
Oh, yeah,
so
I know all you guys. I mean, I've been listening to the Backlog Battle podcast for, I don't know, more than a year now. I can't remember. I guess it was around episode 90 or so is when I probably started.
Right.
But I've been a longtime fan of yours ever since, 2008 or so, when you started doing those vlog videos?
Yeah, when I started to piss everyone off. And I still do shit. And I still piss off everyone else. Even when I don't mean to piss someone off, I piss someone off.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I've been around, this is actually my 10-year anniversary. I just had my 10-year anniversary in April.
Right. Right. Well, recently Alex and I did a episode 0 that talked about, my early days on YouTube. And let's talk about that for a second, because when I started and you started a little earlier than me. You started in 07, I started in early 08. And even during those days, let's remember there was nothing but AVGN clones for the most part, right?
Yeah, that was definitely something that was going on a lot. Let's Plays pretty much didn't exist. There was obviously no live streaming going on. I think Twitch wasn't even around back then.
No,
So,
there was no such thing as Twitch.
Yeah, it was definitely a very different time. Angry video game reviews were definitely some of the most highly viewed content, gaming-wise at least, on there.
Yeah, and some of the most notable guys that did that were, of course, Irate Gamer, RMAC, Jedi, Spax. They were some of the most notable. Whether you like them or not, they were some of the most known at the time, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know what? I really liked some of the content. I think even though the whole angry gamer shtick is well overplayed now and it's kind of boring to watch nowadays, I really got a great affinity to certain content creators from back then. I still follow them on a regular basis, like Play It Bogart, Urinating Tree, RMAC, like you said. AVGN, I still like watching some of his episodes. There's a lot of good people out there that a lot of them don't even do angry videos anymore. But
no, they don't.
Which I don't blame them.
Yeah, and then I kind of came around, and like I said in that episode, everything changed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I was like, you know what, I'll just do different, and I just did everything on my channel, and like that was funny because when I came along and I started to get popular, everyone started to imitate me for a little while. And hey, I know I'm not big. I only have 5,000 subs, and that's not a lot. You know, to some people it's a lot, but it's not. Plus, I don't get very many views, but back then I was pretty big for a little while. So,
the way I see it, you're kind of like a person that's inspirational for budding content creators. Maybe not so much for just a generic viewer that just views content, but for people that actually want to create their own. I think you really drove some inspiration. It's kind of like having like that heavy metal band or whatever that a big band like Metallica will say influenced them. But it's a band that people barely ever heard of. You've got that kind of a vibe to you, and it's really cool to kind of share that experience with people, even if you never were huge. You were reasonably popular, I guess, for that era, which YouTube was a lot smaller back then, of course. So.
Yeah, I had a lot, and it was a good era, and you've been with me since that era.
Oh yeah.
So we had a lot of good times. So that's kind of the whole gist of it, And so we still do videos. I don't do them as often. I think my main focus and content is the podcast, obviously. And
for sure.
And I think with the podcast, Alex is great. I think, that's one of the reasons why you got hooked is because of our chemistry.
Yeah, it's definitely different from the average podcast that I listen to.
Why is that?
Well, it's just it's not common that you get a podcast where there's actually like the hosts are challenging each other in various ways, and I really got a kick out of that element of it.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I'll tell you this: when Alex bought that Switch, fucking made him eat that crow, if you recall.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, I shoved it in his fucking face. And I still will shove it in his face. Crow, Alex, eat that goddamn crow.
Yeah.
Because a year ago, he was anti-Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
But now he's all pro-Nintendo, so, gotta stick to your guns. But no, I love the motherfucker, so there you go.
It is kind of interesting how that whole thing turned out. The thing is, it's not unique just to Alex. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube and elsewhere that have had that similar reaction to the Switch. Like, they were kind of dismissive about it until it was coming out, and then everything changed. I think it's just because of the way Nintendo is marketing the system. They're doing a lot better job with it, honestly.
I think that's important to know. I don't own a Switch yet. I will hopefully soon if I can find one. I want to know, you are a Switch owner. Alex is a Switch owner. We've had Xander on here. We've had, we got Xander's experiences with the Switch. We've got Alex's experiences with the Switch on a weekly basis. What do you like most about the Switch, and what do you not like about it?
Well, there's really not very many things I don't like about it, but I'll go ahead and touch on that in a bit. I really like the portable form factor, of course. I mean, that's pretty much a given. It's really flexible because I can play it as a home console on my TV and just play it like a normal game system. But, for whatever reason, I decided I want to go downstairs, maybe chill on the bed a bit. I could just take it out of the dock and slap the Joy-Cons on, and I'm good to go. I really enjoy...
Well, you're married, so that helps, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I actually have my own game room now, finally, so don't have to worry too much about space struggles there. But I guess if circumstances ever change and we, for some reason, sell this house or get foreclosed on or anything crazy like that, unless something like that happens, I'm covered right now. And if that does happen, I'll be covered still because I'll be able to just take it out of the dock whenever I'm wanting to play.
And that's the beauty of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And another thing I really like, of course, is I just love the Joy-Cons. I'm a huge fan of well-designed controllers and hardware, and the Joy-Cons, in my opinion, are some of the best controllers Nintendo has ever put out, especially when you use that grip. That grip is like holding the GameCube controller, but without those weird buttons with different shapes and stuff. It's just uniform and it's nice.
I gotcha.
Plus, I don't know if you ever felt the HD rumble. Have you ever played the Switch?
Not yet. I haven't even touched one.
Because, the HD rumble, it seems like such a silly thing when you think about rumbling in a game controller, because it's pretty much a generic thing now, And every game is like, oh, you get that quick little jolt every time you shoot the gun or you get hit or whatever. It's like, nobody really cares. It's just an expected feature. But the way they do it on the Switch is quite a bit different. I don't know what exactly is the technology there, but the rumble feature just feels so much better than any other controller I've ever used.
I gotcha. I really do want to try it, though. I just haven't had the chance. I'm still, like, lately, I guess my gaming has been I can't even fucking say it.
Yeah, compartmentalized?
Yep, that's the word. Bingo. And it's been, kind of relegated to PS4, my Vita. I've been kind of focusing on backlogs. I haven't really bought any new games since Injustice 2.
Okay, I gotcha.
But, I did beat Walking Dead, A New Frontier. I got that as a review copy because of the show, so.
Oh, nice. How far along are you on that now?
I beat it.
Oh, really? Nice. Are you getting ready to give us a short little review then, or are you going to wait for maybe the next show?
I already did the review, so you'll be hearing it. But since you don't know it, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
And the reason I gave it a 4 out of 5, just so you know, is the story is fucking fantastic. It's better than the clusterfuck that was season 2. In fact, the story's a lot more organized and a lot more, centered as opposed to even season 1, which everyone loves. The reason I gave it a 4, though, was because while the story's fantastic, that Telltale engine needs to be fucking redone. And they need to make some changes to their gameplay.
Okay, well, you mentioned the engine, which usually when I think of the engine, I think of, like, the way the graphics are designed and just kind of the general flow as far as that, but it doesn't really seem like it affects gameplay, because you can take an engine like Unreal Engine 4, and you can get such a huge variety of different games using that graphics engine. So are you talking about the graphics engine, or do you mean something else?
The graphics engine, because it looks outdated still. I mean, Alex even mentioned recently that engine was revamped, but it still looks the same to me as, say, the Fables game or Walking Dead Season 1.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they also release those Telltale games, like, for the iPhone and such? I mean, if they still do that, that would kind of make sense why the engine's still the same, because I imagine...
That's something Alex did bring up, too, but it's still, I still think that they need to change it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Make them feel a little different than they have the last 5 years or so. That's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game by any means. I mean, the story was fantastic, and actually one of the criticisms I thought that a lot of professional critics, I say professional critics with parentheses, as you know, gave the game was that the episodes were too short. And while they were shorter than other Telltale games, they didn't feel rushed, and I felt that they benefited the storytelling.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I mean, the game is supposed to be an episodic format, right? I mean, it's not meant to be something that you binge play. I mean, you can, because it is episodic. You could just wait until they're all out, and then you could just have a marathon. But, I mean, the way that Telltale wants to tell the story, they want to give that gamer that 2 hours of gameplay, and then you wait for the next episode. That's how they design the games to be experienced. They want that anticipation, I think.
Exactly. How do you feel about episodic gaming?
Well, with episodic gaming, I'm not a huge fan personally. I mean, I did enjoy the first Walking Dead game, which was pretty nice. Didn't really do much else as far as that. Like, I mean, the formula is pretty much the same. I think maybe that's what you're more concerned about is the formula of the games, like the way they're played.
No. Not necessarily that. Changes to the gameplay, like, action sequences or QTEs or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Add a little bit more interaction is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah.
And I mean, Telltale has actually tried to branch out before. I don't know if you remember back on the PS3, they actually had a Jurassic Park game where they actually tried to incorporate different elements from their typical stuff, but it didn't pan out for whatever reason. It wasn't a success like I guess they hoped it would be. And so it seems like instead of trying that again, they just kind of stuck with this formula because they've done it really well, which it sounds to me a lot like the Dynasty Warrior games or Lego games or such. They all have kind of found a formula that works for them, and they just kind of stick with it.
And I think that's the same thing with Telltale. They're kind of falling into that, But I think the one thing that keeps me interested in Telltale, as opposed to, say, Dynasty Warriors and Lego games, is their storytelling has, gotten better. Like, I played episode 1 of Batman last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it, but I haven't beaten it, obviously. But I liked it a lot, which I want to go back to. But I really liked Walking Dead New Frontier. I thought that was a really cool story. And if they continue with stories, they can keep it up. I just feel that, even with great stories, they might need to change up their formula a little bit. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. And, sometimes companies just have to do that. Like, I remember just the other episode, though. I think the one that you guys had most recently released, you guys were talking about the new Tomb Raider games and how they are different from everything that we've had before. And Tomb Raider was a franchise that kind of tried to do the same thing over and over, and it went stagnant. And then whenever they revised it and changed it up, it really made it awesome again. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
As some people might say, make it great again. But maybe Telltale Games needs to do something like that. But unless the reception or sales starts going down, I don't see it happening, honestly.
Yeah. Well, whatever. But
yeah.
But so that brings me to a question for you. What do you think of the new Dynasty Warriors change?
The new Dynasty Warriors actually looks pretty interesting. I really enjoy that it's going to be open world, instead of just a stage-to-stage thing. That's really a cool idea.
Hell yeah. I'm not a fan. I've made that clear. You know this. I have a hard time with those games. There's one I do want to get because it's Berserk and that fits Berserk. I think sometimes that formula fits certain, I suppose franchises, IPs.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I think Berserk is perfect for it. I think Fist of the North Star is perfect. Gundam's perfect for it. Even if they made a DBZ one, that would be perfect for it,
And I mean, even some other games like Hyrule Warriors, it worked out pretty well actually on that game.
Yeah, I forgot about Hyrule Warriors. And then what's the other one? Aren't they doing a Fire Emblem one too?
Yeah, that actually comes out for both the Switch and the new 3DS later this year. And they also had the Dragon Quest Heroes, of course. They just had Heroes 2 come out recently.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But, I know. It's just one of those things, like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, And the games are all pretty much interchangeable for the most part. They might have different little mechanics here and there, but, like, it's the same combat, essentially, like, for all the games.
I gotcha. Okay, so since we're on the topic of Nintendo, let me go ahead and do something.
Oh, yeah.
Last November, you bought an NES Mini.
Oh, yes, I sure did.
And we recently got the news of the SNES Mini
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hooray. We saw how well the first time worked out. So what do you make of the SNES Mini?
You know, it's a really interesting question there because the way that Nintendo's doing this whole thing is not like the Nintendo we're familiar with, which I guess we have to accept that they're changing now since Iwata's no longer running the company and it's now Kimishima.
Oh, not completely, but it's been very different, like, with the way the Switch has been handled. And
Oh, yeah. This is more like the Nintendo of the early 90s. They were definitely a lot more experimentative and they weren't as strict with their IP, they weren't so protective of their IP. Like, hell, I remember when they freaking sold the rights to do, like, those Mario typing games and crap to Mindscape, and that company made terrible games.
Oh, God. What Mario teaches typing? What else?
Yeah, they had, like, teaches typing. I think they had, like, a math one, and I don't know if they had something else. And, of course, you had, like, Mario's Missing and Mario's Time Machine.
Which none of those, if you look at the boxes to those, they show no indication that they are educational games. You think that they are going to be just pure platformers. Also,
Exactly.
You're also forgetting the atrocity that abortion of a fucking game called Mario's Hotel.
Hotel Mario. Actually,
yeah, Hotel Mario.
That isn't that bad of a game if you compare it to the way the Zelda games were on the CDI.
Still an abortion, dude.
It seemed like with that one, they were trying to go for a weird arcade, like old school arcade type of gameplay, kind of like the original Mario Brothers. Where you just had that single screen stuff. I mean, it was just a really basic and bare bones game, but I don't think it's a bad game. I mean, especially considering what else CDI put out in comparison.
Oh my lord, that's one console, the less said the best, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't really have an interest in owning a CDI, and if I was to ever get one, the only way I would is if I can easily burn games for it, because I'm not going to pay no freaking $300 or whatever it is a piece for those stupid Zelda games.
Let me ask you a question too. You're a collector.
Yeah.
And as you know, listening to this show, Alex and I are kind of not collectors. I embrace digital. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Alex only buys what he likes, but he doesn't. He has a pretty big collection that he could show off, but he won't.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you a question. You are a collector, but you're the type that buys what you like. You will not buy games that are shit, even though they're rare. Right?
Well, here's the thing with that. My collecting style has changed and evolved over the years. As a matter of fact, as recent as March of 2017, I was still into Nintendo 64 collecting. Right. And at the peak of it, I had 145 games for the N64. And obviously, when you get that many, that's going to include a lot of crappy games. That's going to include your Maddens and, Madden, I guess, isn't a bad game. It's going to include your sports games that nobody wants, like Madden. And it's also going to include those crappy games like Superman 64, which I'm actually looking at the cartridge for right now.
Why do you own that?
It was part of a lot of 100 games that I bought for $200. I mean, it's hard to pass up when you get that many, and they were all unique titles.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah, they're all unique titles. But yeah, it's just my styles have changed quite a lot with N64 and other systems because, as you know, we got emulators. I mean, it's always nice and convenient to just be able to pull it up on your computer or your phone, or if you got a Raspberry Pi or something like that, and just start playing on it. So that's one thing that's changed me. But another thing is I really do enjoy the original hardware. Like I have the N64, the NES, the Super NES. I've got all those systems. The Sega Genesis. But
let's talk about that. What systems do you own?
Okay, so I've got the NES, I've got the Super Nintendo, I've got the Nintendo 64, the Sega Genesis. I also have a JVC XI, which is a Genesis/Sega CD built in.
Oh.
That's actually
I've heard of those.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a rare one. I've got the Game Boy Advance, I've got the DS, I got the 2DS just recently, the PS2, the PS3. I've got a couple PS3s actually, the PS4. Xbox 360, Xbox One, and I got the PS Vita. So I think that rounds it up. Oh, I've got the Atari 2600, of course. So
okay,
yeah, so I got quite a few systems.
But you don't have like some of the not really the more obscure, but those systems that were good, but they still failed commercially, like the Dreamcast, the TG16.
Oh no, I do have the Dreamcast. I forgot to mention that, and I also have the Sega 32X.
Okay, you don't have a TG16 though.
Oh, and the Wii, and the Wii U, and the Switch.
Okay.
Of course. Why'd I forget those? So I've got a lot of systems. I guess the point is,
but no TG16,
no TurboGrafx, but I do want one.
Yeah, that's a cool system.
Oh yeah, but the thing is though, with these older systems, the games are just getting ridiculously expensive now, and I just kind of think to myself, because I've got more bills than I've ever had. We just got a house this year, and so I've got a mortgage payment and stuff, and that's more than what the rent was, and got more bills now, and so I just can't afford to continue pursuing these huge collections.
Gotcha.
So I've actually began selling off a lot of these games, and some of that money, of course, is to help pay down some debt. Some of this, of course, just got me a PS4 Pro today. I just bought a PS4 Pro today, and
nice.
The rest of it is going to be going into hardware, things that I can use for the old games. Things like EverDrive carts, which allow you to just pop the ROMs in and you can play right off that one cartridge as many games as you want. And then, of course, different aftermarket controllers and accessories and things like that. Just as different things you need for games. That's kind of where I'm wanting to invest my money more towards now.
I got you. That's good. And what's funny is a similar thing has happened to Xander. We talked about that when he was on the show. So it seems like you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah. Xander actually helped light a fire in my ass with this whole retro collecting, selling thing, I guess.
And me, I buy virtual console games. I emulate. I do all that shit.
So do you not have any of your old stuff anymore? What do you have?
I do, but I don't. Here's the funny thing. As a kid, I don't talk about this much, but I didn't own a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't own a lot of fucking games, I had 5 NES games, and I rented a lot. That's how I played. Mm-hmm. My childhood was filled with Contra, but I never owned Contra. I just rented that motherfucker a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Same with Castlevania or Ninja Gaiden or things like that. I didn't actually own a lot of games in those days. I didn't start owning a lot of games till the PlayStation era. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was. Rental was definitely a big thing for me as a kid as well. I think whenever, at the peak of the NES, before my dad actually sold off my NES games, which was because they had to pay bills, of course. Bills go over everything else pretty much. But at the peak of my NES collection, I think I had maybe 15 games. And when you think of how many games there were on the NES in comparison, that ain't nothing. It really isn't. And right now, I own more than, I probably own about 15 now again, because I just sold and got rid of a bunch. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot different back then. It really was.
It was a lot different, yeah. And of course, now we have budget games and games going on sale and things like that. You can get a game for $5 that's pretty good. So it's a whole different world. What do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Rentals, I mean, it's kind of sad to see that they've went on a downtrend. I mean, really, for most people, the only way you can even do that anymore is go to Redbox. And I mean,
even that's limited.
Oh yeah, very limited. It's pretty much limited to just the AAA games. You're not going to find the more niche games at a Redbox unless it just happened to accidentally show up there.
Unless it's one of those exceptions like a Persona 5 or something like that.
Yeah, but even then, I'd still consider Persona a pretty major game series. I mean, outside of Final Fantasy, it's probably the most mainstream RPG we've got right now.
Oh yeah, and that game is fantastic.
Yeah. Or I guess Dragon Quest would be more mainstream, but not really in the U.S. It's more of a Japan thing.
Yeah. I think in the U.S. it's probably Final Fantasy, Persona, and then Dragon Quest.
Yeah, most likely I would say. Well, obviously there's Pokemon too.
Yeah, Pokemon. We forget it because Pokemon is not. It's weird. Pokemon is a JRPG, but it's not normally associated with JRPGs. It has all the mechanics of it. I just think it's not because they kind of lack in the story.
Oh, yeah.
They lack in the story. They don't they lack in the story, but That's not why you play Pokemon, though.
Well, that plus Redbox doesn't rent DS and 3DS games, so...
Yeah, true that. True that. So there you go. But let's go back to the SNES Mini, because we went on and we do this on the show, as you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Me, Alex, and I go, we have one topic, then we go on a round trip with another, and then come back. But with the SNES Mini, I'm not getting one. Speaking of the 3DS, you know why? Because I have my own SNES Mini, and it's my 3 fucking DS. So there you go.
Well, I mean, yeah, the 3DS is definitely a good option there, but don't you want to play 2-player games ever? I mean, don't you want to show your son some of the classics like Contra 3?
I got a Wii U for that.
Oh, okay, there you go.
But so there you go.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, the SNES Classic. So whenever the NES Classic got announced last year, I was pretty dang hyped for it. And I couldn't believe that Nintendo was going to put something out like that. But then again, the way that I looked at collecting then versus now was different as well.
Right.
And, with the SNES Classic, honestly, the game lineup is better than the NES Classic. I mean, there's not really a single weak game on there. Like, the crappiest game on there is probably Kirby's Dream Course, and that's still a pretty fun game, I mean, I can't fault any of the games they put on there. Even you got the people like, oh, there's no Chrono Trigger. Well, I mean, we've got Final Fantasy III and Secret of Mana and Earthbound. I think you can forgive that one, right? But, yeah, so, I mean... Nowadays, the way I look at it is like, it's not for me. I've already got tons of options to play these games. It's not something that's for me. It's definitely for someone's a lot more casual. And I guess in that case, would somebody like that even be interested in Earthbound?
Yeah, look, they have 2 of the major RPGs, Earthbound and FF6. Well, FF3, excuse the fuck out of me, but FF6.
Well, yeah, but it's called FF3 on there because that's the way it originally was released.
Yeah, that's so weird. But yeah, they have that on there, so.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So that's pretty crazy.
Now, one thing that I did like about it was Star Fox 2.
Yes, that's a big deal.
Yeah, which we never got officially, but I really hope that at the same time that Nintendo just puts that out on the Virtual Console, and when we going to get that Switch Virtual Console, right? I mean, when's that coming, Nintendo?
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that for a moment. Isn't it called the Classic Game Library or something?
Yeah, so they changed it to where they were going to do that free game a month, and then after that, you'd buy it if you wanted to keep it. I think they said they were going to give you a discount if you wanted to buy it. But now they're going to change it to where I guess they give you several games a month to play. I'm not sure if maybe they're still going to cycle the games out. It's possible they might. But, it's definitely more appealing than it was, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's depending on how many games they give you and things like that,
Oh yeah, for sure.
But let's keep in mind though, how many times have some of these games been re-released?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the great thing about it though is since the Switch is a portable console, that's pretty much what it is. It's a portable console, as opposed to a handheld system or something like that. It's really cool that you could take that, you could play it on your TV, and then you could take that from the dock, and you can play out at the park, or you could play at the doctor's office, on the bus, wherever, and you can play with a friend. You can hand them a Joy-Con, and you both can play a Super Nintendo game or something like that, for instance, which that's really cool. I really like the idea behind that. Even if
I think that's a big deal. Yeah.
So I think that's what the attractive thing is as far as that for the Switch. Also, the fact that they're only going to charge $20 a year for the online service. So even if you don't keep the games, I mean, it's only $20 a year. That's pretty easy to swallow.
I know considering what PSN went up to $60, PS Plus.
Oh yeah, and everybody freaked out about that. I remember I actually made a video like a long time ago on my channel when people like freaked out about it. And I was pointing out the hypocrisy about nobody complained about it when Xbox did the same thing. And Xbox did it before they even started the Games with Gold program. So they weren't even giving free games to people whenever they increased their rate.
It don't bother me, so.
Yeah.
Although I would beg to question some of the quality and some of the games they've been releasing through PS Plus for free lately.
Yeah, I guess it could be better, but at least we're getting
True.
Until Dawn this month. That's pretty nice.
I own it already. And I own Game of Thrones, another Telltale game.
Yeah, I already.
So I'm fucked.
Yeah, I already had Game of Thrones also, but I had Until Dawn on disc, and so I traded that into GameStop and got $13.20 in credit.
Nice.
Yeah, which ain't bad considering it's like a $20 game, maybe.
I might. You know what? I want to get Tekken 7. So I might.
Yeah. I mean, I know that by the time this episode comes out, this deal will be long past, but GameStop has probably the best trade-in deal I've ever seen.
Let's talk about it. What is it?
Okay, so typically when you trade a game in a GameStop, you can see what the value of it is, and you get like an extra 10% if you're a pro member.
Right.
And that's their monthly subscription or yearly subscription thing or whatever. It's like $15. I think people should be well aware of that because they probably force it down your throat every time you go shop there, right? But,
right.
But anyways, the great thing about this deal they've got right now, if you trade in 6 games or more, you get a 60% bonus on the trading credit.
Holy shit.
Which is the highest I've ever seen personally. Plus, you still get your 10% as a pro member, so you get 70% altogether.
Well, I'm not a pro member at the moment, so.
So just an example, if you get a game that's normally $10 trade credit, with this promotion, you get 17 instead.
Fuck.
And when you get a game that's really highly coveted, like, say, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that they actually give you a good trade credit for, you can make some serious money. I was actually just looking at the receipt, the one that helped me buy the PS4 Pro. I turned those games in, and I still own Mario Kart, by the way, so I actually had a second copy of Mario Kart, which that's another story entirely.
Okay.
But I literally got $64.50 for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's
Jesus!
That's more than they sell it for brand new, much less used. That's
Which version?
the Switch version.
Oh.
Yeah, which that
I
was
only have the Wii.
that was because I also had a $5 coupon. It gave me an extra $5 credit, but still, I mean,
Yeah, fuck.
yeah, it's just crazy, you know. I mean, and people constantly hate on GameStop's trade-in values. Out of all the major companies that do trade-ins, like GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, Walmart, anybody else like that, they're always consistently the highest. I mean, I challenge
God
anybody
damn.
that wants to hate on it, just look up a popular game. Look up Mario Kart right now. Look up the trade value of that on GameStop versus everywhere else. I guarantee you're going to get more on GameStop 9 times out of 10.
Right.
So I don't really hate it. And plus it's tax-free money too. So that taxes you normally would pay on a game, you don't get taxed on trade-in stuff because that's technically store credit. They can't legally charge tax for that.
I think I have a few Wii U games I can sell.
Yeah. So you definitely
And
want
a
to
few
consider
PS3.
it. That deal does end on July 9th. Like I said, it's already going to be over by the time the podcast is out. But
Well, I think I know where I might go today, so there you go, buddy.
yeah. So I mean,
Tekken 7.
I'm interested if there's anybody that is listening to the show. Let us know if you guys took advantage of that trading deal, if you got a good deal or not.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think I may do that. So 6 games or more.
Yeah, 6 games or more to get that bonus. If you trade in less, you could still get like 40% if you trade in like 4 games, I think.
Fuck that.
Which is not too bad, but yeah,
I think I have a couple PS3 games I'm going to trade in, so there you go.
Yeah, definitely. I actually got when I did a trade in earlier, I got 3 cents for a copy of Skyrim on the PS3.
Yeah!
I got the bonus was so great, it gave me an extra 1 cent on that game.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's what people really talk about is whenever GameStop gives you really bad credit like that. But when you think about it, who is going to be buying Skyrim on the PS3 when you have the game on the PS4 now? Like, who even cares about the old version anymore?
Oh! Remember, we're getting more versions of that fucking 6-year-old game too. So
yeah, I know we're getting.
I mean, we got a Switch version too. So
yeah, and it wouldn't even surprise me if they end up releasing it on like iOS in a few years and all kinds of other stuff. You know,
I don't know what it is about that game, but it still captivates people so goddamn much.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed Skyrim. I'll admit I put quite a bit of time into it on Steam. I think I had 160 hours or some nonsense like that. But
Nice.
you know that my time has came and gone with that game. Like I do have it on the Xbox One now. I don't know why. I got a really good deal on, I guess, for Black Friday. So, but I haven't even played it on there yet. I don't feel the need to right now. Maybe if I get nostalgic, I'll pop it in. But
Maybe I'll get me. I don't know, man.
yeah.
I'm gonna try for Tekken 7. I've heard good things about it.
Oh yeah, Tekken 7 for sure looked really interesting to me. I actually ended up buying it, but I ended up trading it because of the trade-in deal I got, which was because I got a buy two get one free coupon for my power up renewal.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I ended up selling it back to him because I ended up getting more trade credit than I ended up paying for it essentially. After factoring in all the trades and everything I did.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go see what I can do.
Yep. So you just gotta look for those opportunities for those trades.
But I'll be honest, man. I don't buy physical games much though. So and I know they don't do the card. I know you can't use credit for like PSN cards either. So
you can use your GameStop credit to buy cards actually if you want.
I was told I couldn't about 2 years ago. Did they change that?
I'm pretty sure they've changed it. Yeah, because you can.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do that. But even if you can't, you can always use that credit for other stuff that you might be interested in. Like, say, if you need a new controller or something like that, you can always just use it for stuff like that too.
Right.
If you can't download a controller,
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's one of those things where I'll have to rush to my mall, and I don't know if you've ever been to the mall. One quick factoid: Justin is the only YouTuber friend that I've met in person. I haven't even met Alex, so there you go. But I met Justin in person, so he knows my town a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a nice town. I really liked it.
Yeah, and I don't live far from your pops, who I should have a discussion for doing what he did with your NES.
Oh, I don't have any hate against him because we were in a situation.
I know,
where,
I'm just joking.
We were really poor at that time, so you got to do what you got to do.
I know, I'm just giving you shit,
Yeah.
but no, you've been to Pueblo, so so I'm gonna head to the mall, which we have a very small mall, but it's my GameStop that's there, so I'm gonna trade in some shit.
Oh, so your GameStop's actually at the mall?
Well, I have another one, but I don't like the people that work there.
Okay, I gotcha.
Triggered. At least I didn't like the people that worked there about 4 years ago.
I gotcha. Okay, that sounds cool.
So we'll see.
But
I know them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know the manager there, and the first game I ever bought from that manager that's been there forever was, and I'm not talking about HD release, I'm talking about PlayStation 2 original, was Final Fantasy X-2.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago.
2003, man. He's been there for that long.
Wow.
So he knows me.
It's kind of sad that he's been there that long, though. I figure.
Yeah, I might go pick up Tekken 7, though, because I love Injustice 2. I Tekken 7, I love me some fighting games. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Actually, okay, so when it comes to the whole physical versus digital debate, like, when it comes to that stuff, like, I'm really cool with digital on PC. Like, I can't remember the last time I bought a physical PC game, honestly. And
have you ever seen the PC section at, like, a Walmart?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty small.
Oh
It pretty much has just the majorest releases you can get. And then you might have, like, a few of those, like, hidden puzzle games and shit like that, like the hidden room games or whatever they call them, and, like, the slot games.
I've seen shit like 10 great poker games, 10 great Agatha Christie mysteries.
Yeah, which,
what the fuck?
I mean, I guess that appeals to some people, right? But, I mean, for the most part, PC games is pretty much all digital now, and I'm fine with it because of the way PC does digital compared to console or handheld. Handheld, it does make sense for, too, just because who wants to carry around a big bag and put all their games in it and accessories and all this crap when you could just have the handheld, maybe a game card or two, and then have the rest on the handheld itself.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? When I discovered I could do that way back in 2013, man, I took advantage. And that was around the time Nintendo started to release everything digital.
Yeah,
on the 3DS, early 2013.
Yeah, because they weren't doing that at first. I think they had the eShop, but it was for indie games and stuff like that. It wasn't like
or Virtual Console.
Right, yeah. It wasn't like for the main releases.
But now I've got a shit ton of games on there, so
yeah. I mean,
I love my 3DS.
I'm not totally opposed to digital. As a matter of fact, one of the games I bought on the Vita was Dragon Quest Builders for the Vita, and that's a digital-only release for that system. And I really enjoyed it quite a lot on the Vita. I don't know why I got it for the Vita instead of the PS4. There was two reasons, I guess. It was cheaper, and it just felt like the kind of game that would work well on a handheld versus the home system. I don't think I would have really played it that much if I had it for PS4.
Let's talk about that. That was a game that we talked about for a good long time, right? Me and Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Alex and I did. And he never finished it, but you enjoyed it, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got a chance to finish it myself.
Yeah.
But I got pretty far, and I think I was in Chapter 3. I think there's 4 chapters altogether in the game. And so what happened was I had the Aqua Blue PlayStation Vita. It was, I think it was officially the last version of the Vita that Sony released here in the U.S. It was it was a slim model, with the micro USB charger instead of the proprietary one, and it was thinner and all that good crap. I really enjoyed it. I played it pretty much every day. And Dragon Quest Builders was one of the games I would play at work. I literally just bought the new Shiren the Wanderer game for the Vita. And I brought that to work. I was playing it. And like a dumbass, I put it in my locker without locking it, and I guess somebody stole it.
I remember when you told me that.
And it really bummed me out. But, of course, that was the Vita I had my Dragon Quest Builders save on. I guess I might still have the save maybe on PlayStation Plus Cloud or something like that, and I can maybe play it on my PlayStation TV or something, but I don't know, it just kind of really bummed me out that happened. But
that's shitty, man, when somebody steals your... I had a Game Boy that was stolen by cousins of mine. So that was back in the day.
I mean, I still got the PlayStation TV. I could play it on. I actually have another Vita, which I mainly just use for modded purposes. I guess I could undo the mod so that I could play it that way, but I don't want to undo the mod for it since I like playing my Super Nintendo emulators and crap on there.
I gotcha. So, with that said and done, I think we've covered a lot. Let's talk about... Yeah, I know, I asked you what you wanted to talk about. So let's talk about ARMS for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another... Yeah, let's talk about ARMS before we close out the show.
ARMS and Cave Story. And you know what? I think you need to talk about a game, too. You really haven't talked about much. So.
I haven't really... I've started New Game Plus.
For what?
On Persona 5.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's mostly what I've been playing. I haven't really been playing much outside of Persona 5. Out of, you listen to the show, so, I haven't really left the realm of The Witcher 3 or Persona 5 quite yet, so.
Well, maybe you could talk a little bit about The Witcher 3, because I do want to kind of catch up a little bit on that. I haven't played that game in forever.
Okay, we could talk about...
But I do want to...
Did you like The Witcher 3?
I did, overall. That's kind of a complicated thing. Let me go ahead and talk about ARMS real quick first. I just want to get that out of the way.
Okay, let's do that.
So I don't know if did Anthony ever get ARMS? Did he ever talk to you about it?
I don't have a Switch. I know, but Alex did.
Yeah, you're Anthony. Duh. I meant Alex. Yeah.
Alex. Yeah, he's got it.
Okay, but anyways, ARMS is a really interesting game because it's one of those games that whenever I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, this looks like a crappy Wii Sports boxing with Stretch Armstrong." Pass. I'm not even remotely interested. That's the same way I felt about Splatoon whenever it first got revealed. But it seemed like as time went on and Nintendo revealed more and more about the game, I started to see what was interesting about that game. And when I played that test fire thing or whatever, that actually sold me on the game. I was like, I'm going to get this day one. And so it's just a really interesting fighting game. It's probably one of the most innovative fighting games I've played in a long time. I guess the most closest comparison I can think of is probably Power Stone in the way this game plays.
That's what Alex brought up. That was a very good comparison because, now, is it as crazy with the environments as Power Stone was?
Well, no, not exactly. The environments are definitely more muted, and it doesn't have obviously nearly as much reliance on power-ups and pickups and things like that. But it does share the 3D arenas that you move around, and it has really simple controls that are easy to pick up and play. I mean, we're talking about easier than Smash Brothers simplicity, you know.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's something that anybody that's played a fighting game, even if they just button mash, they can easily pick up and play this game, and they could probably have more success on this than, say, Street Fighter, you know, for example, just button mashing in this game. But at the same time, there's just a lot of intricacies that if you really want to devote your time to it, you can really start dominating people.
Huh.
Yeah, like my friend...
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
My friend Brian...
No, you go ahead.
My friend Brian, Wolf King and Ka, he pretty much dominates me in every fighting game that we play. You know, he's just better at fighting games than me. But I have been able to really practice on ARMS. I use Min Min. She's the one that's got like the ramen noodles or whatever for her hair. I think that Alex told you about. But that's my main character, and I've just really focused on getting good at her, which is completely different from how I play fighting games. I usually like to switch around and play different characters, as you know, when we play DOA. But you know, I decided I'm just going to focus on one character. I'm going to try to get down their moves and their intricacies, and I was able to just completely dominate Brian. Like, he couldn't even beat me a single match. Even there was matches where he would like have the upper hand at first and get me down to just like a sliver of health, and then I would just come back and he couldn't even land a single blow on me, you know. It was just it's so awesome, you know. But it's a game that if you put the time in, you can really get a lot out of it. But at the same time, if you don't have the time to put in, you still get a lot out of the game, you know. You still get a lot of fun, and that's just what's so great about ARMS, you know. Like
yeah,
I would probably have to give it a 4.5. I don't know if you guys do 0.5s, but I do.
We do well, you know, on our system it's a straight 1, straight 2, straight 3, straight 4, straight 5.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't think it's a 4 or a 5. It feels like a 4.5. It's like right in the middle for me. It's a really well built game. I mean, as you know, it is developed by the same people that did Mario Kart 8. A lot of people may not know about that, but that's, you know, this developer of Nintendo's, they know exactly how to make a casual yet hardcore game like this game, of course.
And Mario Kart 8 was freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess the only reason why it's not a straight 5 is well, there's two reasons. One, I had some issues with the ranked match mode. I noticed some iffy stuff with the ranked matches, which maybe they'll patch that. I'm sure they will, you know.
What kind of iffy stuff?
Well, one thing that I thought was really weird was when I fought a certain opponent, he had like quick arm attacks, because you can customize your arms with different attachments and stuff, and they will do different types of attacks. And I had heavy attacks, but for some weird reason, his attacks were doing more damage to me than mine were to him, even though I had the heavy arms. And I thought that was really questionable. I don't know, maybe it's the character he was using or what it was, but it's something I never encountered on the regular non-ranked mode. So unless he was maybe cheating or something like that, I have no explanation for what happened.
I gotcha.
And the other thing is, it does lack in content a little bit. Like, I know they're going to probably add to it like Splatoon, and you know, we're going to see more content come along. So
that's what Alex was saying too, that they were going to add more content and things like that.
And then some of the content isn't as good as the other stuff. Like, there's certain mini games like the basketball mode, for example, and the target practice one or whatever. They're okay. They're not like really good. I really enjoy the fighting mode, of course, and then the volley mode is really fun too.
The volleyball mode?
Yeah.
Okay. So they got volleyball right, but not basketball.
Right. Well, yeah, the basketball is just, I don't know, it's just something that doesn't quite pull it off for me. It's not as fun as, say, basketball in Rocket League was.
Right.
So,
So
tell me about your Witcher 3.
What?
Tell me about Witcher 3. How's that going with that?
My 3? Oh, Witcher 3. Oh, I'm working through it. I'm finally going to beat it, I hope. Alex has told me I'm close to the end.
Oh, really?
You know. Yeah, do you have the Witcher 3?
I do have it on the PC right now.
Now, for those that have not played the Witcher 3, you can buy it off of Amazon. And while I don't know the link like Alex does, it's in our description. So click on that, and a little portion of that money that you buy The Witcher 3 or any other game or anything else from Amazon.com will go to help us keep old episodes and all kinds of good stuff and improve the show for you. I'm sorry, shameful plug. Well, very shameful plug.
I've got something to add, since unlike you, I listen to every episode, so I know the link by heart. It's bit.ly/Amazon Backlog Battle. No spaces, all lowercase.
God damn you. Even the guest hosts know that better than me. What the fuck? Oh, shit. Okay. You won up.
Yeah.
You got me. But yeah, make sure you buy The Witcher 3 at Amazon.com.
Yeah. So. I'm actually considering buying it again since I got the PS4 Pro now. I hear that the frame rate's a lot better. That's actually one of the reasons I no longer have it on the PS4 is because when I first got it, it had a lot of issues with like frame rates and stuff like that, which I hear they pretty much fixed it now. Like it's pretty much...
They patched it.
They pretty much have it locked at 30. If it drops, it goes down to maybe 25, which obviously wouldn't bother me. But I remember when it first came out, there was a lot of times where it would go down as low as 15 frames a second. And I don't know, it just took me out of the experience of the game whenever it had that bad performance. So I ended up buying it on the PC, and I played it a little bit on there. I'm still got to get back into it, but it is a really solid game. It's just...
Make sure you get the Game of the Year edition if you buy it again.
Oh, I don't think I even need to, man. I think there's more than enough content built in that I'm going to get my fill off of that. Like... I've got all the DLC on Skyrim, for instance, but I never even touched it. You know?
Okay, that makes sense.
So it doesn't make sense for me to buy a DLC for The Witcher just because it's such a good game already, you know? It's...
Well, you can find the Game of the Year edition actually cheaper than the original version. So.
Oh. Well, last time I saw it at GameStop, I think they had it on sale for $30, but the original was still just $20, so...
I gotcha. But I have mine. I love The Witcher 3, and it's a good fucking time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Good time. But I don't really have much to say because I'm not as far as I should be. You know, I want to beat it, and then, you know, that'll be that, and I could put that game to rest. But my problem is I keep going back to fucking Persona goddamn 5, so there you go. So
yeah, it's just going from one ridiculously long game to the next. I mean, yeah, you're not really making a lot of progress. Maybe you should throw in a quick shooter.
I beat Persona 5. I beat Persona 5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm going back to New Game Plus.
Oh, okay. So is there anything different with that?
Yeah. Actually, there is. You know, without spoiling, you carry your weapon, your social stats, which are like, there's your regular, like, combat stats, and there's the social stats like knowledge, charisma, things like that, the way they are. I maxed all of them out, so those are all maxed out in the game. That'll affect how you can meet people, things like that.
Okay.
Your Persona Compendium, your money, and your key items carry over. Certain key items carry over. What doesn't carry over is your original Persona item, your Persona lineup, or your items. Now, you get your equipment back, but not like your healing items or things like that.
Okay. That sounds like I guess I can kind of see it. So it sounds to me like the New Game Plus, for one, I'm assuming you could probably go through that a fair bit quicker than the original playthrough, since you're...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Since you've already got some of this stuff right off the bat. It also sounds like you've possibly got new ways to encounter certain situations in the game, because you mentioned that you can still have your knowledge and whatever, you know. So it sounds like maybe events might happen a little bit differently, too.
Yeah, and also let's keep in mind too, like, you know, like I'm level 4 and I have my weapons from my last game, which are way higher than where I'm at in the game. You know, you start back at level 1, but you have equipment that is very high. So like I'm still one-shotting enemies even though I'm the same level as those enemies.
Nice, that's pretty awesome. I mean, if you have an RPG and you've got a New Game Plus like that, obviously if it's a story-heavy RPG, you want those kinds of dull moments to go by quicker, so that you can...
Hell yeah, son.
So you can just keep it going, you know? That's really cool. Actually, you know, before we... did you have any other games you wanted to talk about before we close it out?
Well, I don't have much to say. I just haven't been playing just my focus has been Persona 5. I need to look at Injustice 2, though. I think some DLC came out.
Okay, so...
I think Sub-Zero came out. So...
Oh, Sub-Zero, nice.
Yeah. I mean, I bought the $100 version of the game.
Oh, so you're gonna get everything then, I guess.
Yeah, I'm getting everything. Yeah. So I already got Red Hood, who's the first DLC character. Well, no, he's not. Darkseid technically was because he came out at release.
Okay, yeah, because he was like a pre-order bonus or something, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got Darkseid, and then of course there's the first three are confirmed. So that's Red Hood, Starfire, and Sub-Zero. And then, of course, they have some of them silhouettes. One of them's very obvious. It's fucking Raiden. So, it's NetherRealm. They're going to dish their own shit into their own game, even though it's a DC Comics game. So,
Oh, yeah.
they did it last time with Injustice 1. They had Scorpion in it, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so before we close it out, I did want to talk about Cave Story Plus on the Switch.
Oh, okay, let's talk about Cave Story Plus. Yeah, because we are about to close it.
Yeah, so actually I was wondering, did you ever play the original Cave Story game? Or any of the releases for that matter?
Yes, I did. I played when it came out like a decade ago.
Right, when it was like an old PC game and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was shareware.
Oh,
right?
yeah, pretty much. Like, Cave Story is, like, a lot of people are familiar with it, I guess, but a lot of people are not, too. It's, like, pretty much one of the first indie games, at least as we know indie games as nowadays.
Oh, yeah, and it had a good story from what I remember and things like that. It was pretty ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But Cave Story's kind of been buried, with a lot of other indie games. Right now when you think of indie games in the last few years, you think of Shovel Knight or you think of Axiom Verge or things like that. You don't think of Cave Story so much. You don't even think of Braid, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. It was
But to me, I forget about Braid. Fuck that game. Continue on with Cave Story though. Good.
Yeah,
sir. That's a good.
So
game.
I mean, Cave Story, for people that don't know, it's a Metroidvania type of game, where you're this boy that you go into a cave with amnesia, of course, because that's always a common video game theme, and you end up meeting up with these kind of like rabbit people. I think they were called like Mimigas or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And they have had this whole incident where, well, I don't want to get into the story too much, but it's a pretty interesting story. But it does have like a lot of quirkiness too. It's an indie game from Japan, so that should tell you everything right there. And this game has been around for a long time. It's been released on several platforms. You had the PC, of course. It's always had an affinity with Nintendo platforms, like we've had it for the Wii and the 3DS and such. And we also have had the PC version, of course. And as a matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, next month, the Xbox One is going to get Cave Story as well. And that's going to be free with gold. So Xbox will apparently get that before PlayStation, which is interesting. But I've got the Nintendo Switch version, which is, as far as I'm aware, at least for the North American audience, the first time the games ever came out physically.
Okay.
And, that's
No. I don't think that's true. I think the 3DS version had a physical.
Oh, did it
release.
really? I'll have to double check on that.
I think so. Let me double check.
Yeah. But, well, it's the Switch version. I mean, I've got a 3DS, but I'm not a huge guy on it, you know what I mean? Like, I see, yeah, it says Cave Story for the 3DS, $9.99. I can't seem to find a, oh, there's GameStop. Okay, maybe there is. Yeah, there is. Okay, I'm wrong.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Cave Story 3D for the 3DS. Okay, so I was off. Well, let's just say it's the first console release then, because,
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
But one thing that's really interesting about this game is, even though it's such an old game, the mechanics feel really solid in this game. It's a timeless kind of game. Even though it's a game that came out in 2004, here I am in 2017. I'm still enjoying it probably the same way that somebody that first downloaded on PC in 2004 has. Obviously, things have changed a little bit. The graphics are better, and they got arranged soundtracks and all that good stuff, of course, and I can play it portably if I wanted. But otherwise, the experience is still the same, and I just really enjoy this game. I can't really think of anything that I can find wrong with this game. there is one flaw that I have with it, and that's if you want to change like the soundtrack in the game, you have to quit and go back to the main menu and change it there. There's no built-in options menu. But other than that, I can't think of anything else that I can fault for this game. It plays really awesome on the Switch. I'm using the Joy-Cons. It works awesome with both the little analog stick as well as the the split D-pad. I don't feel like any need to use a Pro controller on it. It looks beautiful on the Switch screen. If you play it portably, it's like pixel perfect. No pixelization.
Right.
Very smooth motion. And the game is just, it plays awesome. It really does. I really dig these kinds of games, these Metroidvania games. As a matter of fact, previously I played Axiom Verge, which, have you ever played that?
Yeah, I love that fucking game.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, Axiom Verge is amazing, and this game is pretty in line with that. I guess it's maybe not as complex as Axiom Verge. It's definitely a little more on the simple side. But same with Axiom Verge, I have to give it a 5. It's a top-notch game, and it's probably one I'm not going to get rid of anytime soon.
It's a good addition to the Switch library, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because the Switch library is still on the small side right now. This is only I think they've only had a couple of dozen physical releases, and then not much going more on the eShop, really. Mainly Neo Geo shit.
Yeah. Well, which is, I guess I'm cool with Neo Geo shit. Aren't you cool with Neo Geo shit?
Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with it, but I could play it on my Raspberry Pi, whatever.
True that, yo. You got that for a fact.
Yeah.
So, all right, everyone, that'll about does it for another episode of the Backlog Battle podcast. Tell them about a little bit where we can find you at, Justin.
So I'm on YouTube at youtube.com/DownPhoenix. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/DPYouTube and Twitter at twitter.com/DownPhoenix. And if for some reason you hate YouTube, you can also watch me on VidMe at vid.me/DownPhoenix.
All right, awesome. And again, guys, you can follow us on social media at Backlog Battle on Twitter. You can also find us at the Backlog Battle Facebook group. We'll just put in Backlog Battle Community and Podcast Community, and you will find us there. Join our group, and let's have a lively fucking discussion. So from Alex and for Justin, this is Anthony saying farewell.
Thanks for listening to the Backlog Battle podcast. Don't forget to email us at podcast@mybacklogbattle.tv if you've got any questions, comments, or suggestions from today's show. You can find Anthony on Twitter at twitter.com/MagusX1 and on YouTube at youtube.com/MagusX1. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/MyBacklogBattle or on Facebook at facebook.com/MyBacklogBattle. The intro and outro song is credited to Laszlo and is titled Imaginary Friends. It is available everywhere where music is sold. On behalf of Anthony, this is Alex saying take care and enjoy your week.